Welcome to lecture number 5 of C and C++ language. In our previous lecture, we learned about how to solve any problem in C language, and we also learned about flowchart, and we solved problem number 4 to problem number 6. Today's lecture is same lecture, part 2 lecture of the previous lecture. In today's lecture, we solved problem 7 to problem 20. Let's start today's lecture. In today's lecture, we apply these 5 steps for solving any problem. Write down the basic structure, define variable. In variable definition, first of all, we define the data type, integer, float, or long or double, then variable name. After defining variable, we get the value of variables, then calculate the result and display the result. In problem 7, we have to calculate the arithmetic operation of two numbers. Arithmetic operation means addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. The output is given below. You have to get two numbers from user and you have to calculate the addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Flowchart of this problem is start. In second step, define variable n1, n2 and result. Get first number, get second number, calculate result and show this result. In first step, we calculate sum of number and show this number. Then calculate subtraction and show this one. Multiplication and show the result of multiplication, and end of this program. For solving this problem, write down the basic structure. In step 2, define variable, float n1, n2 and result. At display screen, you will see nothing. In memory, we reserve 12 bytes, 4 bytes for each variable. You can define 6 variables, number 1, number 2, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, but this will take more memory. So 3 variables, n1, n2 and result, that take 12 bytes. 1 float variable take 4 bytes and total reserved memory is 12 bytes. In next step, we show a message, enter first number and get this number with scanf or cin, and then show enter second number and get this number. For example, user entered number 1 100 and number 2 5. These number will store at memory. In next step, step number 4, we calculate the result. First of all, we calculate addition. So result is equal to n1 plus n2 and we get result 105, and we also display this result with the help of printf message. Then we calculate subtraction of number and display these number, then multiplication, at the end division of two numbers. Our next problem is to find the area of circle. We have to enter radius of circle. Our program return area of circle. Formula is given. Flowchart for this problem is start the program, define variables, pi, radius, area. Pi is constant, 3.14. Get the value of radius, calculate area and show area. End of program. In first step, write down the basic structure. In second step, define variable. Define data type as float. radius r, area. We define pi 3.14 in header file as constant. At this step, compiler reserve 4 bytes for each variable, total 12 bytes reserved in memory. In step 3, get value of radius. Step 4, calculate result. Area is equal to 2 into pi into r for r square. Step 5, show the result or area. Our next problem, problem 9, is to calculate the interest when principal amount and rate and number of year are given. In first step, write down the basic structure. In second step, define variable. We have principal amount P, rate R, number of year T, I for interest. In third step, get values of rate, time and amount. Fourth step, calculate result. Interest is equal to P into R into T divided by 100. This is the formula for calculating interest. In next step, show the interest amount, show the result. Our next problem 10 is find out the remainder and quotient. Dividend and divisor are given. In this example, we have 15 dividend and divisor is 2 and we get quotient 7 and remainder 1. Let's start. In first step, write down the basic structure. Second step, define variables. Third step, get values of dividend and divisor. Suppose user enter 15 for dividend and 2 for divisor. Calculate quotient and remainder. We can get quotient simply dividing by dividend by divisor, and for remainder we use percentage sign that gives the remainder of any number. In next step, show the result. Our next problem 11 is very easy. You have to calculate time when distance and speed is given. In first step, write down the basic structure. In second step, define variable, time, distance and speed. Get the values of distance and speed in third step. Calculate the time. Time is equal to distance divided by speed and show the result. Problem 12 is get temperature in Celsius and convert in Fahrenheit. Formula is given. In first step, write down the basic structure. Define variable in float, Fahrenheit and Celsius. Get values of temperature in Celsius. For converting this value, use this formula F is equal to 9 by 5 into C plus 32, and in final step, show the result. Problem 13 is calculate the final velocity when initial velocity and acceleration and time is given. In first step, write down the basic structure. Second step, define variable in float, final velocity Vf, initial velocity Vi, acceleration A, time t. Get the values of initial velocity, acceleration and time. In step 4, calculate the result. Vf is equal to Vi plus A into t. And in final step, show the final velocity. Problem 14. Get a character and display its ASCII code. ASCII code means American Standard Code Information Changeable. Every character has a code. For example, if you enter A, its code is 65, and if you enter small a, its code is 97, and so on. In first step, write down the basic structure. In second step, define the variable, a character ch and integer value number. In step 3, get a character from user. For example, user enter A. For calculation, we simply assign this character value to an integer variable that convert the character value into integer value. Associated code of each character. In final step, show the result. In problem 15, we get two numbers and swap their values. In first step, write down the basic structure. I skip first step and start this program from second step and define variable. We have number 1, number 2 and number 3. In memory, you can see three variables are defined when line 2 is executed. At output screen, we see nothing. In next step, get values number 1 and number 2, and in memory you see number 1 is 5 and number 2 is 10. We can see these values at monitor or screen. Next step, we simply show a message, the values we enter, and this message can be seen at output screen. Next step 4 is calculation. The calculation is simple. Swap the values. At line 10, we simply write down a code. Number 3 is equal to number 1. At memory, at number 3, we simply store a value of number 1. In next step, we assign number 2 to number 1. And next step, at line number 12, we assign value of number 3 to number 2. And this swapping, we swap value of number 1 to number 2 and value of number 2 to number 1. In final step, show this swapping values. Number 1 is now 10 and number 2 is 5. Next problem is input two numbers and swap their values with two variables. In previous problem, we swapped the values with three variables. First of all, write down the basic structure. In second step, define variables. We only define two variables, number 1 and number 2. Get the values of variables, get number 1 and number 2. Suppose user enter number 1 5 and number 2 10. Before swapping, show the values at monitor. In next step, Step 4, calculation result. We calculate number 1 is equal to number 1 plus number 2. In memory you can see number 1 is equal to 5 plus 10 is equal to 15, and at number 2 we simply have the same value 10. In next step, number 2 is equal to number 1 minus number 2. At number 1 we already calculate 15, and line 11 simply calculate number 2 is equal to number 1 minus number 2. At number 1 we have 15 and number 2 is equal to 10, that the final result at number 2 is 5. In next step, at line number 12, number 1 is equal to number 1 minus number 2. At number 1 we have value 15, at number 2 we have value 5, and after calculation we have 15 minus 5 is equal to 10. After these calculation, we swap the values of number 1 to number 2 and number 2 to number 1. Now at memory we have number 1 is equal to 10 and number 2 is equal to 5. After this calculation, in step 5, show these values at monitor. Problem 17 is very simple. Convert height from inches into centimeter when 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeter. In step 1, write down the basic structure. Step 2, define variable, float, inches and centimeter. Step 3, get values in inches. Step 4, calculate the result. Centimeter is equal to inches into 2.54. Step 5, show the result in centimeter. Problem 18, get 3 numbers like 8, 9, 7 and display in reverse order 7, 8, 9. In first step, write down the basic structure, and in step 2, define variable int number a and b. At line 2, we define variables. You can see in memory. At line number 3, enter a number and get value of number. At line 4, for example, user enter 987. You can see in memory. Next step is calculation. At line 5, a is equal to number divided by 100. In memory, you can see if number 987 and we divide it with number 100, then the result is 9, which is stored at variable a. Next, line 6 is number is equal to number percentage 100. This symbol percentage gives the remainder of a number. At memory, you can see if number is 987 and we divide it with number 100, at remainder we get 87, which is stored at variable number. Next step is at line number 7, b is equal to number divided by 10. At variable, you can see at calculation b is equal to number divided by 10 and number is 87. When we divide with 10, the result is 8, which is stored as variable b. Next step is at line number 8, number is equal to number percentage 10, means you have to divide number with 10 and get the remainder, which is stored at variable number. You can see at memory, calculation is equal to number percentage 10 and number is 87. When we get remainder with 10, the remainder is 7, which is stored at variable number. After these calculation, we show the result, reserve order, and first of all, we show the number. At number variable, we have value 7 Then we show B. At B we have 8, and then we show A. At A we have 9. So we get the result reserve order 7, 8, 9, which is reserve which number we enter 9, 8, 7. In problem 19, get hours and calculate number of week, number of days and number of hours. Write down the basic structure and define a variable in second step. We define three variables, int, hour, week and days. At line 2, we reserve variable 1 is equal to h, variable 2 w and variable 3 d. Enter hours and get hours at line 4. For calculation at line 5, w is equal to h divided by 168. 168 is a number of weeks in a year. So we divide total hours with 168 and we get number of weeks in hours. At line 6, we calculate h is equal to h percentage 168. Suppose the user enter 200. So h is equal to 200 percentage 168 and we get h is equal to 32, which is the remainder of 200 divided by 168. In next step, at line number 7, d is equal to h divided by 24. 24 is number of hours in a day. So at memory you can see at line number 7 in calculation d is equal to h divided by 24, and in memory variable d is equal to h is equal to 32 divided by 24 and we get 1. Next step, at line number 8, h is equal to h percentage 24. H is 32 and when we divide it with 24, the remainder is 8, which is stored at variable h. After this calculation, we show the result week, day and hours. Our next problem, problem 20, is get petrol price and increase in rate in percentage and calculate the final price. Write down the basic structure and define variable. We have variable current price, increase and final price. Next step is get the values. Get the current price, suppose user enter 100, and get the increase rate, suppose user enter 20. Next step is calculation. Final price is equal to current price plus increase in percentage. So we have formula FP final price is equal to CP current price plus increase. Increase means current price multiplied by increase divided by 100. That calculate percentage, which is added in current price and give us a final price. You can see it in memory at line number 8. Final price is equal to CP plus CP multiplied by increase divided by 100. Suppose current price is 100 plus CP. Current price is equal to 100 multiplied by 20 divided by 100 and we get final price 120. In next step, show the final price. That's all for today lecture. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.